Today started the APAC Premier tournament in China, where we have for the very first time Western teams playing against Eastern teams, so from regions like China, Korea, and Japan. So we have 6 Chinese teams who qualified in an online qualifier and then offline qualifier, and then 6 invited teams, 2 from the Western regions, so NRG from NA and Rogue from Europe, and 2 teams from Korea, so that's Lunatic High and Africa Freaks Blue, and finally 2 teams from Japan, so Detonator and Unsold Stuff Gaming. So it's very interesting because for the very first time we get to see the West versus the East, right? And in games like League of Legends or StarCraft, the East has always been like extremely dominant, especially Korea. So, kind of brings the question, like, is it going to be the same for Overwatch? Are we going to see slowly these Asian teams just, close the gap and then all of a sudden be extremely dominant? So this tournament, as well as OG and Apex, which starts tomorrow, are going to be these like early answers to that question. So today we had Group A, where we had NRG, Vici Gaming, Snake Esports, and Unsold Stuff Gaming from Japan. And NRG, despite not being necessarily the best team in NA, but definitely like a top 5 team, they really just easily took care of business, beating Vici Gaming 2-0, then Snake Esports 2-0, and then finally they had a rematch versus Vici Gaming where they just beat them on one map because they had like a winner's bracket advantage. So we're not gonna do like a full VOD review. We're just going to be looking at one play that we're going to break down because I think the casters got it wrong, even though they did a great job. It was Jason Kaplan and Mitch Ubershouts. They did overall really a great job throughout the day, but there's this slight play that I think they got wrong. So we're going to go into that. It was Vici Gaming versus NRG on Hollywood. A lot of Hollywood today, so we're just gonna check this out. Okay, so first our compositions. We have on the side of NRG a 3 tank 2 support composition, and more importantly a pick comp, because we have the Roadhog that can pick people with his hook, and we have the Hanzo that can try to pick people with some arrows, right? And then if you get some good arrows, you can then, for the second point, have the combo with the Graviton of Zarya and the Hanzo Dragon Strike, of course. On the side of Vici Gaming, we have kind of like the standard 2-2 now, where we, see a lot of Reinhardt, Zarya, and Ana Lucio. But they play the Reaper, which pretty much everyone does nowadays, but they still stick to the McCree, which is Diya, and he indeed like loves his McCree. Like he's really on, I'd say about 80% of the time on McCree. There's been a bit of controversy surrounding him, but let's not get into that. Anyway, so we see this push, NRG on the attack, trying to find a pick with the Hanzo. They're not going to find something right away, so they're going to try to move onto the high ground, onto this balcony up here. Now Vici wants to contest them, so they kind of go in this stairs area, but it's kind of a tough spot to engage through, so they're going to back off. NRG is still looking for pick with Hanzo. He not getting a good hook, not really getting a good arrow, but we're going to see Vici's tank Tankyu gets slightly out of position, a bit too far, and he's gonna drop. Now, because we have NRG kind of dropping onto the point to actually make progress, try to cap it, we're gonna see Vici Gaming, 2 people from Vici Gaming, so we have the Zarya and more importantly the McCree, Diya. So as you can see, he's been hitting a few shots, and now he's going to get his ults. Okay, before that, we're going to see a cool flash deflect. He's going to try to go for this flash above the Reinhardt shield, but Milo's going to do like the cute tilt like that just to negate the flash, because of course, if he gets flashed, his shield goes down. So you just want to not get hit by the kind of area of effect of a flashbang. So you kind of tilt your shield up, and of course, you don't get flashed. So that's good stuff. So now he gets his ult, and this is the main play. This is the play. He ults. Let's just play through and then we'll go back. Milo drops the shield, he fires the ult, and he gets 3 kills. So the casters during this play were saying, oh, why did he drop the shield? That doesn't make sense. He shouldn't have done that, right? And to me, that's a bit of a mistake because Reiner's shield is not like this complete protection versus the McCree ultimate, DeadEye. Because how DeadEye works is that you lock on to targets, and once that lock on is going to do enough damage to the target and be able to one-shot him, you would get this little icon with the skull. So let's just get through it. There we go. So we have these tiny red skulls. So as soon as these appear, that means, okay, you have locked onto them for long enough to make sure that you're going to one-shot them. However, DeadEye doesn't stop there in terms of damage, right? So the longer you keep it up, the more damage it's going to do. So here, now we can't really see much. Like, okay, right here. Shield's already dropped. Let's go back a bit. All right, this is good enough, right? So here, if you lock on to the target that are behind the shield, if you wait for long enough, that first shot, it's not going to limit itself to, say, 200 damage if it's locked on to a 200 HP target, right? It's going to continue to accumulate damage. So after a while of keeping this up, you're going to shoot this shield no matter what, right? So here he's locked on to 4 targets. So yeah, they're all behind the shield, but first you can see the shield is kind of broken, which means that it's below 50% of its strength. So that means less than 1,000 damage that you need to do to the shield. So after shot 1, okay, maybe the shield's not broken, but after shot 2, it's definitely going to be broken. And then no matter what, Milo and Dummy over there are going to die no matter what, right? So people need to stop thinking of the shield as this kind of protection against DeadEye no matter what. It's more of like a buffer that gives you a bit of time to get beneath like actual cover, right? So what they tried to do, and sure, they failed, but you know, I think it still makes a bit of sense. Since this shield is going to go down no matter what, they tried to go for this riskier play, that is, let's get close to him. Enigma's going to use his bubble onto Milo, and we're going to try to kill Diya before he can fire it, right? So here, Enigma uses his barrier on himself, and right here, he uses it on Milo, and at that time is when Diya fires his ultimate. And what happens, and we're going to need to look at it quite a few times because it's kind of funny and doesn't happen too much, is that DeadEye shoots from right to left. Okay, right to left. So on the other side, that means like when you're getting shot at, you're going from left to right. So the very first shot is actually aimed towards Enigma. Okay? But it's actually going to connect with the bubble that Milo has on him. So it's going to destroy Milo's bubble. Okay, I went back a bit too far. It's going to destroy Milo's bubble. Then on the second shot that's aimed for Milo, it's going to kill Milo. And then it went on to Gods and... Was it Gods? I think it was Gods and Dummy. Anyway, so the first shot shoots the bubble that Milo has on him. Second shot actually kills Milo, and then he moves on. Now, had Enigma been slightly more to the left, the first shot would have been on Milo, tanked by his bubble that Enigma put on him. Second shot would have been on Enigma. He also has his personal bubble on him, so wouldn't have killed him. And then maybe, if they're not able to kill Diya, then he still can kill Gods and Dummy. But it's not like, oh my god, why did he drop that shield? That's so dumb. No, it's kind of risky to go for this play, but since his shield was going to go down anyway, you might as well try this kind of risky play. It didn't quite play out as they wanted it to, but it's not like it's not like a dumb play or anything like that. So I saw a bit of criticism like in like Twitch chat and Twitter and stuff like that. When really like this play makes sense. It definitely makes sense. Like the execution was slightly off, unfortunately for them, but I think it still does make sense. Like the safer play would have been, of course, to just play patient, wait, and hide from the DeadEye. But since Milo was actually kind of close, they wanted to try this out and go for it. Let's slow down as much as I can. He's gonna shoot. Right, so Milo's trying to close the gap. Right, Diya has 66 HP, so he only needs to hit him once for him to die. First shot takes the barrier, but it's actually aimed at Enigma. Second shot kills Gods, kills Milo. Third shot kills Gods, and fourth shot kills Dummy. Okay? Now, after the fact, at the end of this map, you had the casters go back and say, oh, actually, it's because the DeadEye broke the shield. No, the DeadEye did not break the shield. He actually dropped his shield. Milo did. But it was to go for this kind of risky play where, okay, we're going to try to kill the McCree, but you need to bubble me, and we need to tank it. Unfortunately, it didn't quite work out that way, but nonetheless, NRG was able to cap this point afterwards. So that was just a tiny bit of analysis on that specific play to kind of break it down. For the rest, we've seen some kind of interesting stuff by the Asian teams. I don't want to, like, of course, stereotype everyone, but mostly from the Chinese team, we saw, how would they say? Siegel said in one of the interviews, oh, they seem to like really want to fight all the time, which is kind of funny because it goes back to this stereotype of Chinese teams in League of Legends always taking fights no matter what and just like wanting to kill. And it seems like they kind of have the same thing in Overwatch, which is just hilarious. But yeah, I think their main problem from what I've seen from today and from the offline qualifiers a few days ago was that they don't really understand when they should be going for these pushes, especially on defense, right? So on second phases, when you're supposed to play dynamically, you don't have like a specific choke point to hold. You maybe have high ground, right? But the game's more dynamic on second phases. So they don't know really when to engage, or they're not sure. So you end up having these second phases where defenses are just awful on it. And because of that, they kind of overemphasize the first point. So they have a tendency to just trickle back in on first points to try to stall as much as possible there because they know they're going to get smashed on second phases anyway. But yeah, overall, they seem to be much weaker than the Western regions. NRG is a good team, definitely. I'd say they're about top 5 in NA, but they're not the best team, and yet they very convincingly like beat everyone today. So for Rogue, that I think I would rate slightly above NRG, even though they have a bit of a harder group. I'd say it looks like they're most likely going to be all right. So yeah, tomorrow the APAC Premier continues. We're going to have first Group C, and then we're going to have Group B with Rogue and Lunatic High. That's going to be very interesting. That's going to be on Saturday. But also, we have the other Asian tournament that starts, which is, of course, the Apex League by OGN, which is going to be very, very interesting. We have, I think it's 4 Western teams there, and the rest only Korean teams. That's going to be very exciting to watch. And I really suggest you to tune in. And if you can't, well, I'll probably try to make these videos to kind of keep you up to date. Hope you enjoyed. See you next time. Follow me at Follow Kirby or here on my YouTube channel. See ya.